Then Imam al-Barbahari rahimahullah, he continues on what occurs here as point number 115, volume 2, page 115, point number 115, that Imam al-Barbahari rahimahullah, he said, وَأَقِلَّ مِنَ النَّظْرِ فِي النُّجُومِ إِلَّا مَا تَسْتَعِينُ بِهِ عَلَى مَوَاقِيتِ الصَّلَاةِ وَالْهَ عَمَّا سِوَى ذَلِكَ فَإِنَّهُ يَدْعُو إِلَى الزَّنْدَقَةِ. Imam al-Barbahari rahimahullah, he said, look into the stars sparingly. Look into the stars only a small amount. Look into the stars sparingly, just enough to help you to know the times of the prayer, and turn away from whatever is besides that, since it invites to apostasy. Shaykh Fawzan, hafidhahullah, he said in explanation, looking into the stars falls into two categories. The first category, he said, is using them to indicate events that take place upon the earth, and it is what is called ilm at-ta'thir, literally the knowledge of effects, which is referred to in English as astrology. Literally ilm at-ta'thir, the knowledge of effects, the Shaykh said, such as the blowing of the winds, and the descent of rainfall, and illnesses occurring, and the death of so-and-so, or the life of so-and-so. So this is forbidden astrology. It's tanjim, which is muharram. Stargazing, which is forbidden, which is astrology. He said, and this is like the action of the people of Numrud, those people who used to worship idols which they had made in the image of planets, and they started to then worship them because they believed that the stars had an effect upon events, and they believed that the stars and planets had an effect upon events upon the earth. He said, and they did not ascribe it to Allah the Majestic and Most High. In effect, what happened upon the earth, they didn't ascribe that, what happened, to Allah the Most High. Rather, they ascribed it to stars and planets. So therefore, he said, they made images upon their form, and they began worshipping them besides Allah. So therefore Allah sent His Khalil, His specially beloved one, alayhi salam, meaning Ibrahim alayhi salam. Therefore Allah sent His specially beloved one, alayhi salam, and He rebuked them. He called them to the Tawheed of Allah. He called them to singling out Allah with all worship. And He said to them, مَا هَذِهِ التَّمَاثِيلُ الَّتِي أَنْتُمْ لَهَا عَاكِفُونَ. Surah Al-Anbiya, ayah 52. With the explanation, what are these idols that you are devoting yourselves to? Shaykh said, so this is the forbidden astrology, and is kufr, disbelief, and shirk. So at-tanjim, astrology, as Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah said, is to use the movements of the stars and planets to indicate events upon the earth. In the footnote they mention, this reference occurs in Majmu' al-Fatawa, volume 35, page 192. In the forbidden type of looking to the stars, that which is astrology, tanjim, that Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah said, it is, defining it, to use the movements of stars and planets to indicate events upon the earth. Shaykh Fawzan said, this is the forbidden astrology. He said, just as is published today in some magazines and in some newspapers which do not adhere to the regulations of the religion, on the page of astrology and horoscopes, and such as palm reading and tea leaf reading and the like of that. All of this is from the actions of the devils and from the tricksters and magicians. And this is kufr. This is disbelief in Allah, the Mighty and Majestic. We ask Allah for afiyah, for safety and security. So that's the first category of looking into the stars that Shaykh Fawzan mentioned, the forbidden side. Looking into them and trying to derive from the places and positions and movements of stars and planets that certain events will occur upon the earth. That's the forbidden type, that's astrology. Then the Shaykh mentioned the second type. He said, the second category, which is ilm tasyir, literally knowledge of the movement, knowledge of the movement of the stars and planets, which they classify as a branch of astronomy. The Shaykh said, it is what is called ilm tasyir, knowledge of the movements of the celestial bodies, such that you gain awareness of the stations of the moon, stations or stages of the moon, and you gain awareness of the course of the sun throughout the year, with the intent of gaining awareness of the appointed times, the mawaqit, appointed times, the times for planting and for crops, and the times for the prayer, the time of dhuhr being such and such, and the time for asr being such and such. Then this, there is no harm in it. He, the Most High, said, وَقَدَّرَهُ مَنَازِلُ. First part of the ayah, Surah Yunus, the 10th Surah, ayah 5, with the explanation. And He, Allah the Most High, He decreed for it stations or stages. Shaykh Fawzan said, meaning the moon. Allah the Most High decreed for the moon certain stations, stages that it passes through. لِتَعْلَمُوا عَدَدَ السِّنِينَ وَالْحِسَابِ. Surah Yunus, same Surah, ayah 5, with the explanation. And He decreed for it, the moon, stations or stages, so that you may know the number of the years and reckoning. Then Shaykh Fawzan said, and he said, وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ آيَتَيْنِ فَمَحَوْنَا آيَةَ اللَّيْلِ وَجَعَلْنَا آيَةَ النَّهَارِ مُبْصِرَةً لِتَبْتَغُوا فَضْلًا مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَلِتَعْلَمُوا عَدَدَ السِّنِينَ وَالْحِسَابِ وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ فَصَّلْنَاهُ تَفْصِيلًا. Surah Al-Isra, the 17th Surah, ayah 12, with the explanation. And we made the night and the day as two signs. So we take away the sign of the night and put in its place the sign of the day, shining brightly, so that you may seek the bounty of your Lord, and so that you may know the number of the years and reckoning. وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ فَصَّلْنَاهُ تَفْصِيلًا. And we have fully explained everything. Surah Al-Isra, 17th Surah, ayah 12. And the Shaykh said, and he said, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَهِلَّةِ قُلْ هِيَ مَوَاقِيتُ لِلنَّاسِ وَالْحَجِّ. Surah Al-Baqarah, the 2nd Surah, ayah 189. With the explanation. They ask you about the crescent moons. Say, they are signs to mark fixed periods of time for mankind and for the Hajj. Shaykh Fawzan said, so ilm tasyir, knowledge of the movement, and knowledge of the movement of the planets and stars, that branch of astronomy. He said, so knowledge of the movement there is no harm in it, because it contains benefits and it does not contain any evil belief. The two categories of looking into the stars: the first one, looking into them and holding they have an effect upon the earth, astrology, that this is forbidden. And the second one, looking into the movements of the stars and planets to gain awareness of the appointed times for crops and the appointed times for crops, appointed times for the prayers. As the Shaykh said, there's no harm in this because it contains points of benefit and it does not contain any evil belief. Then he said, as for ilm ta'athir, astrology, knowledge of claiming that there is an effect, which is to use the stars as evidence for anything else, then this is forbidden, this is haram, this is forbidden, and it is shirk. Using them as evidence for people's fortunes and for calamities and for good and evil, this is shirk along with Allah the Mighty and Majestic. And therefore Qatada said, he quotes from the famous Tabi'i, Qatada ibn Di'amah rahimahullah, he said, therefore Qatada said, خلق الله النجوم لثلاث زينة للسماء ورجوما للشياطين وعلامات يقتدى بها فمن طلب فيها غير ذلك فقد ضل وأضاع نصيبه وتكلف ما لا علم له به. Qatada said, Allah created the stars for three purposes: as an adornment for the sky, and as missiles to be hurled at the devils, and as signs for guidance upon the way. So whoever seeks from them other than that, then he has gone astray and he has lost his portion of good, and he has taken on that which he has no knowledge of. In the footnote they mention this report from the saying of Qatada rahimahullah is reported by Al-Bukhari in his Sahih in disconnected form in the book of the beginning of creation, reported in disconnected form by Al-Bukhari, and reported in connected form by Ibn Jarir al-Tabari in his Tafsir, Ibn Abi Hatim in his Tafsir, Abu Shaykh in his book Al-Azama, and others besides whom he mentions. Then Shaykh Fawzan concluded and said, so Allah has made the stars for 3 points of benefit. The first point of benefit is as an adornment for the sky, as an adornment or decoration for the sky. He said, He the Most High said, وَزَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِيحَ Surah Fussilat, Ayah 12, with the explanation, and we adorned the sky of this world with lamps, meaning with the stars as lamps. And the Shaykh said the second point of benefit is as missiles to strike the devils. He the Most High said, إِلَّا مَنِ اسْتَرَقَ السَّمْعَ فَأَتْبَعَهُ شِهَابٌ مُبِينٌ Surah Al-Hijr, the 15th Surah, Ayah 18, with the explanation, except for one, referring to the jinn, the devils from the jinn, except for one who seeks to listen by stealth, then he will be pursued by a clear burning flame, a shooting star that shot at him. And the Shaykh mentions, Shaykh Fawzan, the third point of benefit is signs by means of which people take directions upon journeys. He said, He the Most High said, وَهُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ النُّجُومَ لِتَهْتَدُوا بِهَا فِي ظُلُمَاتِ الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ Surah Al-An'am, the 6th Surah, Ayah 97. With the explanation, and He, Allah, is the one who made for you stars, so that you may be guided by means of them in the darkness of the land and the ocean. The Shaykh said, so these are the points of benefit from the stars. But as for the one who believes that they have an effect upon events, and that the rising of such and such star is a time indicating bliss, and the rising of the second one is a time of wretchedness, then this is kufr. This is disbelief in Allah, the Mighty and Majestic. He, the Most High, said, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِئِ النُّجُومِ وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ كَرِيمٌ فِي كِتَابٍ مَكْنُونٍ لَا يَمَسُّهُ إِلَّا الْمُطَهَّرُونَ تَنزِيلٌ مِّن رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ أَفَبِهَذَا الْحَدِيثِ أَنْتُمْ مُدْهِنُونَ وَتَجْعَلُونَ رِزْقَكُمْ أَنَّكُمْ تُكَذِّبُونَ Surah Al-Waqi'ah, the 56th Surah, ayahs 75 to 82, with the explanation. So I swear by the places of setting of the stars, and it is, if only you knew, a tremendous oath. Indeed, it is an honourable Qur'an in a guarded book. It is not touched except by the angels, rendered pure. It is revelation sent down from the Lord of the whole of creation. So is it this speech that you disbelievers deny? And instead of the thanks which you should give for Allah's favours upon you, you instead deny and reject them. Shaykh Fawzan said, especially explained this last ayah, Shaykh Fawzan said, meaning, you ascribe rizq, you ascribe provision to the stars and to their rising and their setting. وَتَجْعَلُونَ رِزْقَكُمْ أَنَّكُمْ تُكَذِّبُونَ. Shaykh said, meaning that you ascribe provision that you receive from Allah, you ascribe the provision to the stars and to their rising and setting. And he said, and the Prophet ﷺ, he led his companions in the dawn prayer at Al-Hudaybiyah, close to Mecca. He led them in the Fajr prayer at Al-Hudaybiyah after it had rained during the night. And then he, ﷺ, he turned away from his prayer. And when he finished, turned away, as occurs in the Hadith Qudsi. And he said, as occurs in the Hadith Qudsi, قال الله تعالى أصبح من عبادي مؤمن وكافر فأما من قال مطرنا بفضل الله ورحمته فذلك مؤمن بي وكافر بالكوكب وأما من قال مطرنا بنوع كذا وكذا فذلك كافر بي ومؤمن بالكوكب. So the Prophet ﷺ reported, the Hadith Qudsi reported, saying, Allah the Most High said, from my servants, some have entered the morning as believers, and some as disbelievers. So whoever said, we received rain from the favour of Allah and His mercy, then that one is a true believer in me, and a disbeliever in the star. And whoever said, we received rain through such and such star and such, then that one is a disbeliever in me and a believer in the star. In the footnote they mention this hadith is reported by Bukhari in his Sahih and by Muslim from a hadith of Zayd ibn Khalid radiallahu anhu. You'll find it in the Sahih of Al-Bukhari as Hadith 846 and reported by Muslim, as it mentions here, as Hadith number 71. Shaykh Fawzan said, so rainfall is not from the effects of the stars, their rising and their setting. Rather, the rain is only sent down by Allah, the Majestic and Most High. He is the one who sends it down, and who ordains it and sends it forth, and who withholds it if He wishes. He, the Most High, said, وَهُوَ الَّذِي يُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثَ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا قَنَطُوا وَيَنْشُرُ رَحْمَتَهُ. Surah Shura, the 42nd Surah, ayah 28, with the explanation, He, Allah, is the one who sends down the rain after the people have despaired of its descending, and He spreads His mercy. Likewise Shaykh Fawzan said, and he said, إن الله عنده علم الساعة وينزل الغيث ويعلم ما في الأرحام وما تدري نفس ماذا تكسب غدا وما تدري نفس بأي أرض تموت. Surah Al-Qamam, the 31st Surah, Ayah 34, with the explanation. With Allah is the knowledge of the hour, and He sends down the rainfall, and He knows what is within the wombs, and no soul knows what it will earn tomorrow, and no soul knows in which land it will die. Shaykh Fawzan said, 5 matters are not known except to Allah. In the 5 matters mentioned in this ayah, 5 matters are not known except to Allah, and from them is the sending down of the rain. No one knows it except Allah, the Perfect and Most High. So the person who ascribes it to other than Allah is a mushrik. It's a person of shirk. That's where Shaykh Fawzan, Hafidhullah, he ends explanation of this point. Then on the same point, Shaykh Ahmad al-Najmi, rahimahullah, he said, I say, looking into the stars and learning knowledge with regard to the stars is divided into 2 categories. Firstly, ilmu tasyir, knowledge of the stellar or planetary movements, which is knowledge by means of which the stations of the moon are known, and the times for growing crops, and the like of that. And this is permissible. And he mentions the second one, ilmu ta'thir, knowledge of effects. He said, and this is what is said by the stargazers, that the stars have an effect upon events upon the earth, and whatever that comprises, or whatever is comprised from that in the books of misguidance, such as the book Shamsul Ma'arif and Abu Ma'shar al-Falaki, and other than that, whose authors say, whoever gets married on such and such night, at such and such point relative to the conjunction of the moon, and whoever travels on such and such night, he will attain such and such. The Shaykh said, and this contains kufr, disbelief, and major shirk, because it is mixed with charms and with seeking aid from the jinn, and all of that is shirk and kufr. And engaging in matters of the ilmul ghayb, knowledge of the hidden and the unseen. And knowledge of the hidden and unseen is for Allah alone. He does not allow anyone to have knowledge of the hidden and the unseen, except for a messenger whom He is pleased with. And there occurs in the narration of Qatada rahmahullah that he said, and he mentions the report that we already had from Qatada, the purpose behind the creation of the stars, the benefits of the stars. And then he said, so ilmul ghayb, knowledge of the hidden and the unseen, and effects upon the creation, and specifying decreed events that Allah has written in the preserved tablet. And he informed that the knowledge of the hidden and the unseen is with Him alone, and that all the decreed measures of the creation are decreed by His will. So whoever claims that the stars have an effect upon the life of a person, then he has left Islam, and he has committed major kufr, which makes it certain that he will remain forever in the fire and be prevented from paradise. He said, Allah the Most High said, وقال المسيح يا بني إسرائيل اعبدوا الله ربي وربكم إنه من يشرك بالله فقد حرم الله عليه الجنة ومأواه النار وما للظالمين من أنصار. Surah Al-Ma'idah, the 5th Surah, Ayah 72, with the explanation. And the Messiah, Isa alayhi salam, he said to the children of Israel, worship Allah, my Lord and your Lord. Whoever commits shirk with Allah, or associates others in worship with Allah, then Allah has made paradise forbidden for him. And his destination, his resting place will be the fire. And the wrongdoers will have no helper. Shaykh Ahmad said, finishing, so what's obligatory upon the Muslim is that he is one who follows that which the Prophet ﷺ came with. Believing, having Iman, believing that Allah is in control of the creation. He, the Lord of the whole of creation. No one else besides him. And Allah is the one who grants success. And likewise, just before moving on, then some of the footnotes and some of the versions of Al-Bahari, they bring a hadith that's relevant here, which is the hadith reported by Abu Dawood as hadith 3905. Hadith declared Hasan, good by Shaykh Al-Albani, as a narration from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, who said, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Man iqtabasa ilman min al-nujum, iqtabasa shu'batan min al-sihr, zada ma zad. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, whoever learns knowledge of astrology, then he learns a branch of sorcery, sihr. The more he increases, then the more that will increase.